March 22, 1945. German Supreme Command West, Badenau, Germany. Field Marshal Albert Kessler sits at his desk reviewing intelligence reports. The Rhine River, Germany's last major natural defense, is about to be crossed by Allied forces. But he's not particularly worried. The Rhine is wide, fast-flowing, and heavily defended. The Germans have destroyed every bridge. Crossing it will require massive preparation: boats, pontoons, air support, and artillery bombardment. British Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery is preparing to cross near Vasile. Kessler's intelligence estimates the assault will come within a week. Montgomery has been stockpiling supplies for months, thousands of boats, aircraft, artillery pieces. When will Montgomery attack? Kessler asks his intelligence chief. He's following his standard procedure: extensive preparation, overwhelming force, minimal risk. And the Americans? General Patton's Third Army is near Mainz, but he has no bridging equipment, minimal boats, and his forces are exhausted from the Battle of the Bulge. He won't be ready to cross for at least 2 weeks. Kessler nods. Patton is aggressive, but even he can't cross without proper preparation. Then an aide rushes in holding a message. "Sir, urgent report from the Mainz sector." Kessler takes the message and reads it twice. "This can't be right." "Confirmed, sir. Multiple sources." Kessler stares at the paper. The message is simple, but its implications are staggering. American forces have crossed the Rhine near Oppenheim, a bridgehead established. Identity: Third Army, Commander Patton. Last night, sir, March 22nd. Without preparation, without bombardment, they just crossed. Kessler looks at the map. Oppenheim is a small town with minimal defenses. Germany doesn't have enough troops to defend every mile of riverbank. Patton crossed the Rhine without telling anyone. Apparently, sir, British intelligence didn't know. Even American headquarters may not have known until it was already happening. Kessler sits back in his chair. For a moment, he says nothing. Then quietly, "That's not supposed to happen." This is the story of how Patton crossed the Rhine River, Germany's last major defense, before anyone expected it, without permission, ahead of a massive British operation that was supposed to be the official Rhine crossing, and why German generals couldn't believe what they were seeing. The race to the Rhine, March 1945. Allied forces are driving toward the Rhine from all directions. The Rhine River is the last major geographical barrier protecting Germany. Once crossed, nothing stands between them and Berlin except open terrain and a collapsing German army. But crossing the Rhine is no simple task. Up to 1,500 feet wide in some places, fast-flowing and heavily fortified. The Germans have destroyed every bridge. Montgomery is planning Operation Plunder, a massive set-piece Rhine crossing near Basel. It will involve 250,000 troops, over 30,000 artillery pieces, hundreds of boats and bridging equipment, massive air support, including airborne drops, and weeks of preparation. Montgomery's approach is methodical. Overwhelming force, minimal risk, no surprises. Patton's Third Army, meanwhile, is driving east, taking city after city. By mid-March, they've reached Mainz. Patton stands on the western bank, looking across at Germany. "We're going across," he tells his staff. "But sir, we don't have authorization," his chief of staff points out. "I didn't ask for authorization. I said we're going across," Patton replies. "Montgomery's operation is in 2 days. Maybe we should wait." "Wait?" Patton's voice rises. "Montgomery can claim he was first, so the British can take credit for the major assault. Gentlemen, we're crossing the Rhine tonight, before Montgomery, before anyone expects it. And we're redoing it so quietly that the Germans won't realize it is happening until we're already across." The quiet preparation. March 21, 1945. While Montgomery conducts final preparations for his massive operation, Patton makes his own plans in secret. "No radio traffic about this," he orders. "No written orders above division level. No communication with Schaff. We're going dark." His staff is shocked. Sir, Supreme Headquarters needs to authorize a Rhine crossing. They'll authorize it after we're across. Right now, if we ask permission, they'll say no. They'll say, wait for Montgomery. They'll say, it's too risky, so we're not asking. Sir, that's insubordination. Court-martial me. After we're across, Patton replies. Right now, get me boats. Orders go out quietly. Scour every assault boat, raft, and floating device Third Army can find. Confiscate civilian boats if necessary. Just get them to the Rhine. Patton identifies Oppenheim, a small town with minimal German defenses, as the crossing point. The Germans are expecting a crossing at Mainz, the strongest point. Patton plans to do the opposite. That's not how crossings are supposed to work. An engineer officer protests. Doctrine says you cross at the strongest defensive point after suppressing it with artillery. Doctrine says you take weeks to prepare. We're crossing tomorrow night. Make it happen, Patton interrupts. The night crossing, March 22, 1945, 10 p.m. Complete darkness and radio silence. Elements of the 5th Infantry Division begin crossing the Rhine at Oppenheim using small rubber assault boats, each carrying a dozen men. No artillery, no air support, just silent boats crossing under cover of night. The first wave lands on the eastern bank. German defenders are minimal, scattered, and barely manned. Some open fire, but in the darkness they can't see their targets. American return fire quickly silences them. More boats cross, then more. By midnight, an entire battalion is across. By 2 a.m., a brigade. By dawn, the 5th Infantry Division is establishing a bridgehead on the eastern bank, and almost nobody knows it is happening. Patton maintains radio silence. Third Army Headquarters doesn't report the crossing to SHAF. Even nearby American units don't know. Patton wants the bridgehead secured before anyone, Allied or German, realizes Third Army has crossed. The morning after March 23, 1945, German forces near Oppenheim wake to discover American troops on their side of the Rhine. Confused reports flood German headquarters. Americans on the East Bank? How did they cross? When? German commanders scramble, but it's too late. The bridgehead is established and expanding. At Third Army Headquarters, Patton finally allows his communications officer to report the crossing to higher headquarters. Third Army crossed the Rhine last night near Oppenheim. Bridgehead secure. Minimal casualties. Advancing inland. At SHAF headquarters in Reims, the message arrives during the morning briefing. An aide hands it to General Eisenhower. He reads it, then looks up in disbelief. Patton crossed the Rhine when? Last night, sir. He's been across for almost 12 hours. Eisenhower's chief of staff, General Walter Bedell Smith, is furious. Patton crossed without authorization, coordination, or notice. Eisenhower holds up a hand. Patton has acted without permission, but he's across. That's what matters, Eisenhower says simply. Montgomery's operation is tomorrow, and Patton just stole the spotlight. Eisenhower can't suppress a slight smile. Yes, he did. Patton's phone call, March 23, 1945, 10 a.m. Patton calls Bradley at 12th Army Group Headquarters. Brad, I've got news. What did you do now, George? Bradley asks wearily. I'm across the Rhine. Silence. Brad, you still there? You are across. When did you cross? Last night, Oppenheim. 5th Division is across and advancing. We're building a pontoon bridge now. Armor should be across by this afternoon. George, you crossed without telling anyone. I'm telling you now. Montgomery's operation is tomorrow. You were supposed to wait. I wasn't supposed to do anything. Patton interrupts. I saw an opportunity and took it. We're across with minimal casualties. Bridgehead secure. Why wait? Bradley can't argue with results but knows the political implications. Montgomery will be furious. I imagine so, Patton says. But I'll be in Frankfurt by the time he crosses at Vasile. Brad, you should come visit. The bridge will be finished tomorrow. We can walk across together. After hanging up, Bradley sits quietly, then says to his aide, George Patton just crossed the Rhine before Montgomery's massive operation, without permission, in complete secrecy, with minimal casualties. Is that good, sir? Brilliant and infuriating in equal measure, Bradley replies. Which is the most Patton thing I've ever heard. The bridge ceremony. March 24, 1945, the same day Montgomery launches his massive Rhine crossing. Patton stands on a newly constructed pontoon bridge across the Rhine at Oppenheim. Engineers have worked through the night. Bradley arrives as requested. "Come on, Brad," Patton says. "Let's walk across the Rhine together." They walk to the middle of the bridge. Patton stops, looks around, then unzips and urinates into the Rhine River. "I've been waiting to do that since Normandy," he announces. Bradley is mortified. "There are photographers." "Good," Patton replies. "I want everyone to know we pissed in the Rhine before Montgomery even got his boats wet." He then deliberately trips, falls on the eastern bank, and scoops up a handful of German soil. "Like William the Conqueror," he says. "First thing you do when you land is grab the soil. Shows you're claiming it." Photographers capture both moments. The images will infuriate Montgomery. Montgomery's reaction. March 24, 1945, Montgomery launches his massive, meticulously planned Rhine crossing with thousands of troops, artillery, and paratroopers. Textbook execution, minimal casualties, but everyone knows Patton got there first. Montgomery is furious. Patton crossed 24 hours earlier, in secret, with far fewer resources. British newspapers, however, praise Patton's audacity. Churchill privately laughs. Patton crossed with one division and a few boats. Montgomery used 250,000 men. Patton's method was more economical. The German commanders scramble to understand Patton's move. Kessler notes, Montgomery is predictable, Patton is chaos. He exploits weak points before anyone knows they exist. Another general says, Patton crossed like a thief through an unguarded window. Montgomery like a battering ram through the front door. Both got inside, but only Patton surprised us. Strategic impact. Patton proves the Rhine isn't impregnable. German forces must defend multiple points. Allied morale soars. Within days, multiple armies are across the river. Patton's secret crossing broke the psychological barrier and forced the Germans to fight on multiple fronts. Eisenhower's statement, March 25, 1945. Patton drove me crazy crossing without authorization, but he got results. Minimal casualties, a secure bridgehead, and he beat Montgomery by 24 hours. Managing Patton meant accepting he would never follow the script. But the script didn't cross the Rhine in one night. Patton did. Historical note, the Ludendorff Bridge was crossed first by the U.S. First Army on March 7, 1945, but it was opportunistic. Patton deliberately built a bridgehead in secret. As he said, they found a bridge. Good for them. I built a bridge. There's a difference. Classic Patton arrogance. That's not supposed to happen. German commanders repeated it in disbelief. That's not supposed to happen. Patton moved faster than logistics allowed, crossed rivers without preparation, attacked when he should have consolidated, and he won. When told something was impossible, he did it anyway. Authorization? He acted first, apologized later. The Rhine crossing became a defining moment. Audacious, unorthodox, and utterly Patton.
If you find stories like this as fascinating as I do, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Thanks for watching.